So I would love to hear your perspective now. Let's talk about writing some of the songs from the EP. Like, what was your I heard Morissette's perspective on this, and I heard Sergio's. Like, what was your most difficult and why to write and process?
Most difficult. Um, I I think like one of the most difficult songs that we wrote, or like it was like not the same kind of process, and it didn't take as fast, was Mirror. Um, I wrote the verse, and I think part of the chorus, and um it was kind of like, okay, it's good, but we didn't feel it was as great as the other songs that we had written, or at least at the same level. And so we actually like just set it aside for a while after I had like presented it to Morissette. And um because like, especially for the last, or for the chorus, there's a like one of the last lines, it what I had originally written, it just didn't flow as smoothly. Um and I felt it, and when I sang it to her, or when she was trying to perform it, like I felt like it didn't have that same kind of smoothness as well. So yeah, we basically just set it aside, and I'd go back to it every now and then, or try to write other stuff. Um and then like it eventually came together. But even in the, like, when we pitched it to Sergio, it was kind of like Morissette and I had the same conversation, where it was like, we have no idea how this song is gonna sound. For the other songs, it was like, okay, like Trophy's gonna have more of that like modern pop vibe with some reggae elements, and then like Will You Stay is gonna be like just very like soul, like have elements of jazz, and just like smooth, right? But Mirror was like, it was, I think it was on the piano, and that was it. It was literally just the instrument track and her vocal track, and we didn't know the direction that Sergio was gonna take with it, and he had to send us a couple different versions of it before we were like, okay, yeah, yeah, there, that sounds good.
I totally relate to that tremendously. Like, there are some songs that you just know right from the bat this is what it's going to sound like, or even just kind of get to that kind of relative finished idea, and then you start tweaking things here and there. But then there are songs that just, I feel like, take forever and just not feeling right. It just doesn't
Yeah.
feel right, doesn't feel right, doesn't feel, and finally either it does or you're still working on it, kind of thing, and it's so interesting to figure out why and which ones, and there's no rhyme or reason. Uh, but with that being said, I've always loved the idea of an artist releasing their mistakes, meaning like, here's this massive hit, well, let's say anything, like, I mean, even using something like Mirror for an example, like this is the one that has a million streams on, like, you're all so familiar with this, but here are six other versions that didn't make the cut, and just kind of, just it'd be unique to see. It's probably something I would love to do, like just down the road, maybe when there's a little bit more excitement around the music that I'm making. But it'd be interesting just because to show people it's almost like a behind the scenes vlog, only
Yeah.
like the music process. It's like, oh wow, that synth is really interesting. Why did you take it out, or why did you leave it, or that sounded terrible? But it's cool to see that you realize that, and now this is the final version. Or it's just interesting. I think it's a fascinating idea.
And it's funny because like two songs, at least for me, that I felt were just kind of like, for lack of better terms, like filler tracks, like just to kind of like fill out the EP, was really Mirror and Will You Stay. And for me, the reason why Will You Stay was that song was because like it, I mean, that's more of like my style of music that I really write and stuff like that. But and Morissette, she sings it beautifully. I mean, she sings any song beautifully. Um and but it was like, that's the song for me that felt a lot different than the other tracks. And then it was like Mirror, which we weren't like as confident as the other songs with. And so now that it's been released, and it's just so nice to see how people have reacted to the songs that we thought weren't going to be as impactful as the other songs. And then it's the same thing with like with Phoenix. That was like one of the songs where we thought would just like take off really quick, but it didn't take off as quick as we thought it would. But I mean, it's getting there. It's getting there, and some songs they catch you by surprise. And it's like the ones that you think are gonna have a bigger impact don't have as big as an impact as you think they are.
Yeah.
And the ones that you just kind of like push off to the side a little bit, those are the ones that are just that people end up like loving the most. So
it is the enigma of the music.
Yeah, right. So like it's really just taught us like we can't, like we just really have to just keep writing the best songs that we possibly can, producing the best content that we possibly can, because what we might think sucks or what we're like hear about, right? All of a sudden people hear it and it touches them in a certain way. And it's like, it's pretty humbling. And it's funny because I'll share this. When Sergio submitted the mix of Mirror, like it was like one of the mixes that he liked the least out of all the ones that he had done. And so I guess at the time it was just like all of us were being hit by all of these like small insecurities where we didn't think it was the best like song and the best mix or best arrangement and this and that. And like I told him, I says, dude, I don't know what you're talking about. I love it. And as I kept listening to the song, like it just like the arrangement and everything kept growing on me. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, I was just laughing to myself because I said, watch this becomes like bigger than the other songs, or it's like it is able to stay at par with all of the other songs. And true enough, that's really what's been happening. And a lot of our friends, that's also their favorite song. And I'm like, see, look, like you really don't know. No. You really don't know. And imagine, right? Imagine if we had allowed our securities to eat us up and we just scrapped the whole song entirely, right? Like no one would have ever heard Mirror.
100. Dude, I literally, that's one of the biggest things I talk about on this channel is like, that's why I release so much music, because I've been dumbfounded with the fact of like, I hate this song that I release and it ends up being like all these people's favorite songs. And then the song that I love, I'm like, I can't wait to release. People are like, yeah, it's cool. But it's like, you never know. So it's just, I'm just like, just release whatever, as long as it's above a certain quality of par, it's like, you never know.